and the results have been fantastic. Over 75% of our subcontractors are from Linn County. You just wouldn't be able to get that kind of number if you had to do it else in another manner. All of our, I believe our general contractors are local, and most of our architects are local. So it's working and on schedule.
And of course, the issue right now is that the governor passed an executive order stating that you could not use these agreements, and the Attorney General has not really weighed in on the issue. So where does it stand? What will happen? Will you lose state funding?
No, all of our contracts were signed well before the change in administration. Our money has all been allocated to us, so that's not the issue. No Linn County projects are going to be impacted by whatever happens with Governor Branstad's decision on that executive order.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned budgeting for outcomes to meet the county's priorities. Can you expound upon the priorities that you're working on?
Sure. Let me just say one thing about budgeting for outcomes so everyone kind of understands what it is. This is a very different budgeting process than we've ever gone through. And without getting into the weeds, we basically instructed our elected officials and department heads, you get 98.5% of this year's money for next year. So you have to find 1.5% that you can offer back up to us. And because they had to take in salary increases in IPERS, it really was about a 4% cut. And that meant departments had to go line item by line item. What is mandated? What is revenue generating? What is absolutely critical? And what can we do without, including staff utilization? So that is the budgeting for outcomes principle. And from that, we got a lot of positive results. And we had about 40 or 50 what are called offers from departments and elected officials saying, if you fund these, great. If not, we can still operate. It's not going to be pleasant. It could hurt some people. It might mean staff layoffs, but we will operate more efficiently. And as a result, a lot of departments that normally wouldn't collaborate are collaborating. We've looked into new technologies to increase efficiencies that hopefully over time will reduce costs. And from a strategic goals, we funded a lot of conservation. You've probably read a lot about the Sheriff's Department with Rescue 57, and I'm happy to report that we are looking creatively with the Sheriff to fund that for this year. We did some with public health, and we had about 50 different options from all of our departments. So it met our strategic goals of maintaining good customer service and the services that people need. But as I said, it wasn't perfect. But I think that what we have is a more efficient budget.
Were there any staff layoffs?
Yes, there were.
How many?
I would have to go back and look. I know that because a lot of our departments are staff heavy, that there was only so much you could cut into operations. I would say less than 6, perhaps, and they were very difficult decisions.
Yeah, a couple of times now when we've talked about this topic, and in your presentation you said that the process wasn't perfect, which makes me wonder if there's one or two particular issues with which you personally are not happy, or the board as a whole are not happy.
I shouldn't characterize it as not being perfect, as not working. This was new territory for us, and so we normally set guidelines. Our budget and finance directors look at it, report back to us and say, yep, we sign off on it, and then we sign off on it. This year we made a commitment that department heads and electeds are going to look at every aspect, every facet, every layer, every expenditure, come back to us and tell us what's important to them and what they could do without. We then as a board literally went through and said, we want to fund this or we don't want to fund it. And what we thought was going to take 3 days took 30 minutes. And the results were eye-opening. And so one of the issues was, as you've read, Rescue 57. We're looking at ways to do that. I know Supervisor Langston has been pretty passionate about some public health issues that did not get funded. Supervisor Olson was very passionate about conservation and lobbied very hard on that. We all had different goals in mind, and what we ended up with was something I think we're happy with, and that we'll use in future years as a sort of guideline on how to always do things better. So I wouldn't change it for anything, and I would do the process all over again.
In the next 5 years, what do you think the county's biggest challenge is?
I think our continual challenge, as I outlined, will be who we are and what we do. I think if you were to go ask just a normal person, what does Linn County do? You wouldn't get a very detailed response. But if you ask what the city does, people would be able to tell you what they do right, what they do wrong, who's the mayor, but I don't think if you ask who is sheriff supervisor, they would know. So that's always going to be our challenge. I think we also need to invest more in technology, and we're doing that with a very expensive tax software called Manatron that will get us off a 1983 mainframe that literally uses tapes. I don't even know what tapes are, but they tell me we use them. I guess they're the 8 tracks of servers. We're at 45, so constantly updating our technology, staying ahead. Sometimes government stays behind the private sector. I think we have, because of budgeting for outcomes, we've learned a lot about some of our technology needs. So constantly updating our technology, staying ahead, so that people can pay their property taxes online and not be charged a fortune for it. So they have to come into our building, so that they can do other things online, county park reservations. That we really want to harness the internet and just have more citizens participate, even if they can't make it to our buildings.
Well, as most private businesses know, technology can be expensive, and it's sometimes hard to keep up with it as it changes. Are there ways in which you can partner with other entities or the cities in which work and live in this county in order to save funds and cooperate on the technology angle? I
think we're continually looking at ways that we can better strengthen our relationships with our area cities and in technology. Is there a piece that I'm aware of? No. But certainly our...
Manatron with Polk County.
Manatron with Polk County. We are, this $1.2 million software system is going to integrate all of our property tax systems into one big mammoth system that will operate more efficiently than what we currently have. We're piggybacking with Polk County on their RFP because they were doing this exactly the same time we were. So we were able to gain some efficiencies from having one company come in doing the same thing. So in terms of the city, we're looking at, there's ways that maybe our assessors, there's a city assessor.
JCN.
Yep, our joint communications network. So there are always ways that we're looking to tie in the school district, the city, and the county on that redundant brain.
Okay. Well, we don't have any further questions unless anyone is sitting on one. They're holding a slip of paper. They're dying to ask it. There were, unfortunately, some other comments about your dad's hair, but I don't think it's fair to continue.
Is your dad related to Gene Shalit? Is that the movie guy? Is that the guy with the...
See, I didn't ask him because I knew you wouldn't know who it was. Okay, well, Ben, thank you very much. This was tremendous. And thank you to all our elected officials who attended today and department heads, folks who came to ask their questions. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this event along with the Linn County REC. Also thank you for assistance to Shive Hattery Architecture and Engineering and Copyworks of Cedar Rapids. Have a great day.